Welcome, traveler, to the Inn at the Edge of Greenwood, a cozy roleplay podcast where adventurers from many realms come to tell their tales. You won't find any dice rolls or TTRPG mechanics here, just good old-fashioned make-believe and storytelling. We hope you enjoy your stay, and if you do, that you let us know with a review. Thank you for joining us. Now, let's grab something hot to drink and listen to a story. Dear friend, last week a courier came through and I was able to send him with a letter to Trowbridge placed in an order for a load of shingles for the barn. It's been a while since we've done any extensive repairs, and while my patchwork has been keeping the animals dry for now, it's high time that we gave them a new roof. I can't say that I'm looking forward to that project, but it will be nice when it's done. We've actually had quite a few people coming through lately, more than usual, for a longer period of time. And whenever you have many travelers coming through, it's always good when one of them is able to provide a story to entertain the others. Take some of the load off of me. We certainly had that person most recently. What a tale he had to tell. The Inn at the Edge of Greenwood, Book 2, Chapter 3, The Path Forward. Traveling in the winter is a tough order on foot, and you've been slogging through a fresh snow for a while now. Making progress, but it's cold and it's slow going, and your muscles are starting to burn a little bit from just the effort and the exertion that you were having to put out. And whatever you may be grumbling to yourself is interrupted suddenly by the sound of children. You could hear shouts and cries and laughs and screams. And as you get a little bit closer and you realize you're kind of rounding the edge of a forest, you've been on this path and you're kind of rounding to the right a little bit. And as you turn, you see before you a little hill, and there are all sorts of kids with little wooden toboggans and things that are sledding on the fresh snow. You see scattered around the outside the parents who are all watching, and you see halflings and gnomes and humans, all sorts of different folks here, a couple tieflings. The interesting thing, though, that after you kind of stop and observe this scene for a moment is that you don't see a town anywhere. It's just kind of open area and field, except for one building that's sitting up at the top of the hill, set a little ways back. And this looks to be pretty obviously some sort of tavern or inn. There's a stables attached. It looks to be 2 stories, fieldstone base, white, wooden paneled walls going up. And people are kind of coming in and out of it, holding drinks. Whatever little village or town you've stumbled upon here, so they seem to be having a little bit of a community day, enjoying the fresh snow in a much different way than you've been interacting with it. But yeah, as you see all of that, one of the gnome mothers sees you coming and gives a big wave. And you hear her kind of shout out across, "Hello, traveler. Are you here to visit the inn?"
I mean, it depends. Does the inn have a fire? Because I'm here to visit wherever it is warm.
Right there. Yes, please just head this way. Right up the path there. The innkeeper will get you something warm to drink. Welcome.
I'm glad to be here. I'll be even more glad when I can shake some of the snow off. Thank you for the direction, kind, good mistress, woman, lady friend. I appreciate it.
She kind of gives you a curious look. It's like, right, okay. And then goes back to watching her children. You make your way up the hill to this inn, and you see a sign hanging out the front of it, over the top of the door. There's no words written on it. There's just a green pine tree painted, kind of roughly there. But you hear voices inside, and as you're starting to step up, there's both stairs and a ramp going up to the door itself. And as you're starting to step up, a halfling man, two of them actually, kind of come bumbling out, holding fresh flagons of ale, and excuse me, and kind of go around you. But as you step inside the building, you are greeted with a very interesting moment of warmth on the front and your back still to the cold, as it is very warm inside here, and the fire is lit and roaring. And there's probably 10 to 12 people kind of milling about. You see them all bundled up in various ways. People seem to be coming in and out. A couple of them are seated and are having a meal. But as you kind of stand there, several of them kind of, get the door, please, get the door.
Oh, of course. Sorry, it's been I can't even remember how long it's been since I've been warm. I just kind of was overwhelmed by... anyway, sorry, door. Yeah, sure. And I pulled the door shut.
Okay. As you pull the door shut, everything starts to warm up quite quickly, and even little bits of snow are dropping down and melting at your feet. Coming from around a door behind the bar, because there is a bar on the right-hand side, and then a big kind of open hall where all the tables are, these big vaulted ceilings, and then the fire all the way to the left-hand side. But coming from out of a door behind the bar, a young man, very kind of thin and lanky with short brown hair, wearing an apron and simple clothes, comes, and he's kind of got a little bit of a small keg that he's wrestling out, and he sees you and he's like, "Hey, welcome, traveler. Have a seat. We'll get you something to drink. Anything else you need right here at the moment?"
Just as close as I can get to the fire, and as large of a mug of... Do you spice your mead here?
Oh,
and then
we do.
Warm it up?
Yes.
Because if you could do all of that for me and keep that coming, that would be fantastic.
You've got it. Have a seat by the fire. I'll be with you in just a second. And as the innkeeper, who this is kind of stepping out, now sees you for the first time, would you give us a description of what your character looks like?
Sure. Warjorn is an older tortle, kind of almost bluish purple hues on his shell, which is wrapped in... You wouldn't call them rags, but you also wouldn't call them very nice. You can tell, if you look closely, you can tell at one point maybe they were some nice robes. They've been mismatched. If you had a very keen eye, you would see that they are from a variety of like churches and temples and deities. He also has almost subtly a warhammer slung kind of to the side, and a leather kind of sling, and just a big sack on the other arm. And just kind of a grizzled... Turtles don't really have beards typically, but you just get that sense that if they did, he would. Just kind of that grizzled kind of face and kind of front sharp beak. And that's kind of sits down, slings the bag to his side, and just... Oh, yeah. Oh, that's nice. That's what we needed right there.
After a moment, the innkeeper brings over a large mug that is full of a spiced ale or spiced mead. Can I get you anything else? Do you need a room for tonight?
I would love a room for tonight. You have rooms available?
We do,
yes. I have coin to pay.
Perfect. Can I get a name?
Warjorn. Spell it however you feel.
I'll do my best. And he goes back. If you look over your shoulder, you see him pulling a large leather-bound book out, flipping it open, making a note. There's keys that are hooked to the inside of the book, and he pulls one. Comes back a moment later and hands you a key. So room number 2, actually, right up the stairs, is open. So, breakfast is provided in the morning. The dinner and ale, unfortunately, is an additional, but breakfast is complimentary.
That's very kind of you. I didn't happen to see a name of your fine establishment when I came in. I don't even know where I am, to be honest with you. I just kind of wandered, and it got really snowy, and now here I am. So,
yes,
where are we currently?
Well, so you're on the edge of Greenwood, and this is the inn at the edge of Greenwood. We like to call it. Where were you coming from? Were you coming from Innaport or Trawbridge or?
I left Trawbridge, and I literally had no idea I was even heading this direction. I got turned around very much in the snow, so it's very good to know where I am on the map again, finally.
Oh, good. Well, no, I'm glad that you're... I'm glad you've made it here. And you say you're from Trawbridge, correct?
Well, I've passed through. I've been there a couple times. I try not to settle down too much in one place. I'm more of I like to travel, see the world a little bit, so a little bit of here, a little bit of there.
I love it. You must have seen a million things in those travels.
Oh, at least 2 million, probably. But you stop counting after the first 500,000. You know, am I right?
Well, of course. Who could be bothered, right?
Yeah, no, it's been a wild time, a very very strange time. Have you always run this inn? Is this what you do normally?
My grandfather started building it, and then my father finished it and ran it until he passed. And yeah, you could say I was born and raised here, and I've gotten out every once in a while to go to some of the other towns, but yes, I do. I have always run this inn, and it's my home.
You know what's funny? Like every inn you see, like they're very distinct, right? Everyone makes it their own. They're decorated their own way, but
yeah.
But like every time you step into one, it feels like the same inn you've been, but in a good way, not a bad way. I'm not like picking on your inn. I'm just saying there's that sense of like, oh, anything could happen. I've been here before, right? I get that feeling from your inn.
Well, thank you, and I'm glad you say that, because I do think that one of the things that makes a good tavern or inn or whatever is a sense of comfort and familiarity and home. That's what I want people to feel when they come here. So I appreciate that compliment.
You got it in spades. It's you're doing a fine job here. And I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Oh, you could just call me the Innkeeper. That's what they just shout, Innkeeper, and I come running. So,
a man withholding his name and going only by a title. Normally, I'd find that suspicious, but this is a very good drink. It's a very warm inn, and I think I like the cut of your jib, as they say. So I'm gonna be okay with that, Innkeeper.
All right. And he puts us off to do some other work for a while. One of the people who's kind of in the general space and has kind of been listening in a little bit is this kind of wizened old tabaxi woman. She's a little plump around the middle and has these like long kind of like braids of sorts that are very mismatched in their length, kind of all around her head. She's kind of got like a white and black patterned fur to her, and is wearing these big, chunky, crocheted or knitted, clothes. But she kind of leans over at one point and goes, excuse me, you said that you've traveled all over the realm, have you?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I'm in the middle of a drink there, ma'am. I apologize. No, I've seen my fair share of the world, you might say.
Oh, it's quite exciting, quite exciting. I used to live in the capital city.
Did you? When were you in the capital? How long ago was this?
That would have been probably 40 years ago at this point.
40 years ago. I passed through the capital several times, probably around that time. Who knows? We might have even bumped into each other. I looked a lot different 40 years ago.
I probably would have remembered such a handsome tortle, though.
Oh, please, you're too kind.
Could you? And you notice at this point that other people have gathered. And the noise has gotten a little bit quieter, and you kind of look up suddenly and see this sort of a ring of people around you, various halflings, gnomes, humans, and whatnot. And she kind of leans in a little closer. She's like, "Would you give us a story? Would you give us a tale of your adventures? A day like today with a warm fire and good food and the children playing outside. It's ripe for a tale."
I mean, since you were all very interesting stories. You were all around right now. That's a very
would love to hear a story, of course.
Tale. Yes. I don't know what kind of storyteller I am, but I can do my best. Sure, why not? If someone doesn't mind keeping this mug filled, a quid pro quo, if you will. I give a bit of story, a bit of and we're good to go. Is that fair?
Pulling chairs over and kind of sitting down, and someone rushes to get you a refill. Some copper pieces are kind of put into a little pile to pay for additional drinks. Everybody's very eager to hear from this newcomer.
Well, you're all very kind. You're very kind. And I take kind of another drink and set my mug down. Now, look, I know it's going to sound very stereotypical. You're going to be like, every story starts like this, but it started in a tavern, much like this one. On a day not too unlike today, except that it was sunny and warm and it was not freezing and miserable. No offense to your town or your weather.
It's cold as a witch's tit out there.
You know what? I wasn't going to say it, but your words, not mine. I 100% agree. But no, it was a beautiful summer day. The sun was setting. I went into my favorite local inn, the Laughing Crow, and I was just having a drink, as one does. In fact, I was meeting a good friend of mine there by the name of Fira. She's a firecracker. I mean, let me tell you, she's something else. Literally. By the way, she's a genasi. I don't know if you're familiar with them. Have you had genasi out here? The different types.
We've got them, mostly they're the rock type, but we've got different ones, yes.
Yeah, no, so definitely not rock. This lady, like I said, firecracker, literally just burning bright hair, beautiful, gorgeous, but just the smart as a whip. Anyway, I was hanging out with her. We were catching up, swapping stories, kind of like we were doing here. And all of a sudden the door opens in an overly dramatic fashion. People who walk into taverns, they know how to open the door quietly. They let themselves in. They close it. This door just kind of open and, bonks against the back wall. And we all look over and we can't see nothing. And the door's just there. And finally I stand up and look, and there's this satyr woman. Bright white skin. Have you ever seen a bright white satyr, pink eyes, pink horns? It was intense. Let me tell you, like the glow coming off of this one. And I've never seen anyone who looked more out of place than this poor girl. And she just stood there for a while, right? She just stood there looking very confused and lost. And finally she looked at me. And she started walking over, and I leaned over to Fear. I was like, here we go. I don't know her. I don't think I owe her any money. Do you owe her any money? She was right there, right? And long story short, she'd apparently been told by some goddess that she had some magic quest that she had to go on to, free the world of evil and yada, yada, yada. We've all heard the free the world from evil before. You heard that before?
Oh, yeah. Well,
yeah, so it's a whole
choruses.
thing. And she was like, oh, Lyra, the goddess of joy, has told me to come and find you. I mean, that's not really what she sounded like, but I can't really do a satyr voice. Anyway, forgive me. I'm not going to try and do the whole voice.
You're doing very well, son. Keep going.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. But still, I'll let it be. She said Lyra had sent her to come and find me. And look, me and Lyra, we've had a bit of a rocky relationship, I would say. There was a time, and I kind of gestured to one of the patches on my cloak, which you can see is kind of a triangle made out of 3 6-pointed stars. And I was like, I did my time at the temple, as many of us do, in our young days when we're trying to find our way. But we hadn't had a lot to do with each other in a while. But she insisted that she was there to see me and that I was meant to help on this quest. And what could I do? I told her no, right?
So
that's not the end of the story. Okay, all right, fine.
That's the end. That's the whole story.
No. Okay, come on. I told her no, and she
everybody
left
breathes a sigh of relief, and leans back in to hear
There's more. I told her no. I was like, I don't want to. I don't do this anymore. I don't have time for that. And she left, and she looked so sad. And she went and sat at the bar and ordered a glass of milk. And I've never seen anything more pitiful in my life. And so I looked at Fear. I was like, look, I know you don't jive with the gods or the goddesses, but I think we got to help this kid out. And she kind of agreed, and so I went over. I was like, look, kid, here's the deal. Me and your god, we don't really get along anymore, but, if you need help, if you need someone to back you up, what you got? What'd she tell you to do? And let me tell you, this kid lit up the whole room. Literally, no, she started glowing. Literally started glowing. And I was like, you need to tone that down. This is a very dark inn. People don't appreciate that. There are mysterious strangers trying to hide in corners right now, and you're really kind of messing up that whole vibe. So if you could just... And she toned it down. And she started telling me this whole story about how, again, a tale as old as time, and yet it seems to keep happening. So what are we going to do? We're going to lean into it. She told me people have been disappearing from local farms. Right, and farms are very important. They're the source of our agriculture. Economics depend on farms like this. And I hold up my meat at some point this came from a farm, right? Probably came from your farm. You there? So are you a farmer? You look like a farmer. No offense.
There's actually a little halfling hand that pops up on the opposite side and goes, "That's my farm, actually. That's our ale."
Exactly. So, imagine if you disappeared. We would all be very bereft of a delicious and fine ale. My compliments, by the way, from a brewer such as yourself or someone who grows the wheat. It's important is my point. Farms matter. And she starts telling me all these farmers have been disappearing. And particularly, they were all women, which is always odd when someone singles out a particular, group of people. But for the past 2 or 3 months, they'd all been disappearing. And, these farms were going dry and not providing their goods anymore. And that her goddess was trying to restore the land and this whole thing, and evil had crept in. but she was telling me about this place in the woods. Now, let me tell you. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Kira Woods, but the Kira Woods, they're a dark place, all right? They're very dark. I mean, literally very dark. The trees are dark. They gather over your head when you walk in. It feels oppressive. And right away, I was like, yeah, no, I know where this is going. We're going to have to go to the woods and do the thing, aren't we? And long story short, yeah, we did. That's what we had to do. There was a dark power, allegedly, because I don't like to judge, had taken up residence in this place, and all the farms around the outside of the Kira Woods were, losing people. They were disappearing in the night, which is unfortunate. So I said, all right, I'll go with you. Hold on one second. Do you mind? Could I get another of these? Is that okay? Do you mind
see
refilling?
The innkeeper himself actually has kind of joined the circle and is looking and kind of hanging on your every word. And he like starts a little bit. He's like, oh, right. And he turns around and goes and gets you a refill.
Cheers. My friends are buying. They're very kind, and I appreciate them. So me, Fira, and this girl, and I find out, kid you not, girl that glows, guess what her name was? Guess, anybody. Throw out a name. Glowing girl. What would you call her?
Firefly.
No, but that's good. We should have gone with that. In fact, if I see her again, I'm going to tell her she should change her name because that's a solid one. No, Brilliance was her name.
Oh, and everybody kind of nods like, of course.
Right. I mean, right on the nose, right? But that's what she was, and she had this holy symbol that was always glowing on her chest, and I'm like, you need to tone it down with the glowing. But then we got to the Kira Woods, and it was very, very dark. And I, being the seasoned adventurer that I am, Fira, being the seasoned adventurer that she is, we brought no torches. I mean, whoops. Usually you can forage that. I do have some magic I can do, and I was about to do that. And then Glowing Girl walks in, and like it was like the darkness just like slipped away from her. Like, I don't know if you've ever tried to pour like ink on glass and it just runs down the sides. It was like that. It was like watching darkness drip away. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. We march our way in. Like, she knew where she was going. I was like, these are woods. What are we going to do? And she just walked straight ahead. No fear. No looking for traps. Now, by the way, if you're an adventurer, checking for traps, very important part of the job. Many people neglect it. They should not. Traps are everywhere. Why? I don't know, but it seems to be a thing that we do, so you got to keep an eye out. But she didn't care. She was just walking like she knew each step, like something was guiding her to right where she should be. And lo and behold, we bust into this opening in the middle of the forest, right? Just opens up, and there's a cave. And like, let me tell you, when you find a cave in the midst of a mysterious, dark, quite frankly, evil and magical forest, never a good thing. But, we knew what we were in for at that point. And I was like, are you sure? Can we just burn it? Can we just like throw fire in there and be done? And apparently not. So, but by the way, I'm not boring y'all, am I? I mean, we can,
you just hear an immediate, no. Everybody is just like they don't want you to stop.
Well, fair. Well, I appreciate it. I've been walking for a while. I kind of figure these old stories, who cares about them? But I'm glad you're here. So anyways, we walk into this cave, and she's glowing, and we go in and we turn left because there are all these caverns. And here's a weird thing. Before we walked in the cave, I walked around this thing. It was literally like a mound of rock in the middle of this. I mean, maybe 200 paces around. Walk inside, huge. That's a red flag right there. By the way, you walk into a place that looks small and suddenly very big, very concerning. There's some sort of magic going on there. You need to keep your eye out, keep your head on a swivel, because things are not usually right when the physics of reality aren't working the way they're supposed to,
You see there's a young human woman who's sitting off to the right of you, and you notice now that every time you kind of give one of these like adventuring tips, she's got a little notebook out and she immediately starts scribbling it down.
Okay, some of this is copyright material. I'm working on a book of my own, but okay, well, you keep up your nose. We'll talk after this.
Oh, okay.
My experience, don't want you to profit off my likeness. Whatever, we'll talk about it later. Copyright's a big deal in the capital, but you're taking good notes. Keep it up.
Okay.
I like the cut of your jib, which is a saying that I used earlier, and I think I'm going to introduce to your town, and everyone can start saying it. Remember that tortle guy? He said that, and that'll be my lasting legacy in this town, I think. So
she starts writing down cut of your jib.
Yeah, all right. Okay, I like where you're at. I like it. So we go in, right? Obscenely big. Shouldn't be this big. She's glowing. I got old trusty here, and I hold up this hammer, and I kind of take the cover off, and it's like a shining silver kind of metal. I'm kind of like hefting them. Like, I got this thing right here. Set down on the ground. Fira's got these funky knives. They're very strange. Knives are supposed to be straight. Hers did this weird thing where they went different directions, but they work for her. So you're not going to tell her not to bring her funky knives. So we walk in. Everything's very dark, very scary. Lights glowing off of brilliance. We see all these caverns opening off of this room, and we just go to the one on the left. Walk through it. We walk for what feels like, I don't know, an hour? Just down this path that just seems to repeat forever, and we bust back out into the same room. Very strange. Not what you would expect from a very tiny yet large cave. So we turn back, and we go back the way we came to see if we missed anything, and a minute later, we walk back out into the same room. Red flag number 2, when you're in a place that is larger inside than it appeared on the outside, and then you try and go certain ways, and they suddenly aren't working the way they're supposed to, and you keep ending up back in the same place. And I kind of gesture at everyone, bad magic. Yes, that's right, everybody.
Everybody goes along, yes, very bad.
Yeah, you with the notes. I saw you whispering along, bad magic, you got it. So at that point, I kind of settled down. I said, look, I think I might know why I'm supposed to be here. I know a little bit of magic from my time at the temple. Tell me again, what are we looking for? Wait, by the way, you never told me what you're looking for. I realized I had said yes without even knowing what I was there for. I just agreed, which is crazy. Normally, I like to know what I'm going to get paid. Forgot to ask. And she explained that there was a magic gem at the heart of this strange cavern labyrinth thing that was being corrupted, and that was the thing that we needed to recover and return to her temple and blah, blah, blah. So I had to describe it to me. She used some of her magic. She showed it to me. It glowed right there in the air, and I said, all right, this will work. So I focused up. I started praying. And now here's the thing. There are a lot of gods, right? Do y'all have any gods that you worship around here? Is there like a local one that y'all are really into? Are you pretty open to whoever?
Oh, yes. Well, several worshipped here. Probably Tamerlane, and everybody kind of nods along. Yes, yeah, Tamerlane, goddess or god of the crops.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Seems how your farmers make delicious ale. Well, like here's the thing: Tamerlane isn't. Never heard of them, but I'm sure they're fantastic. Because you know what? Most of the gods are. They're all fairly powerful, and a lot of people commit themselves to just one, which I find to be a very limiting approach in life in general. I mean, again, no offense to Tamerlane. I'm sure they're great, but there are a lot of great gods. You can worship Saloon, you can worship Agma, you can go after Malar. I mean, like when I tell you there are a lot of gods, there are as many gods as there are beers in this fine establishment, and there are a lot of beers here, right?
Yeah, and everybody raises their ales. Yeah.
So when I pray, it's a bit of a different thing. It's not like, oh, dear Torm, please come down. Like, don't get me wrong. I knock on Torm's door, but he's not always there. So, it takes a little minute, right? I got to kind of run through the list, see who's answering today. So I start kind of, going through my prayers and, no, nothing's coming through. And then finally, I feel that tingle, right? Where you're like, somebody's listening. And it was very, very strange. It was very, very strange. I mean, it was Eldath. Are y'all familiar with Eldath? Again, I'm bringing a lot of wisdom to y'all here. I don't know if I don't want to overwhelm
everybody. Kind of like, no, they haven't heard of this one.
Goddess of Peace, not my normal go-to. In fact, I did like this weird like mission trip one time where we went and we like built a well in this part of town and then like never came back. And I don't know exactly how helpful it was to the local civilization, but we were doing it for Eldath, and apparently that was enough to get her attention. And she decided like, okay, cool, I'm going to answer your call. Long story short, a freaking waterfall, which is her thing, she's big into water, starts pouring out of the ceiling, filling this room, right? And we start to freak out. And I'm like, what in the world? I did not pray for this. I know it's been a while. I'm very sorry about that. But the water's filling up. And then all of a sudden, all these different caverns, right? I told you there were caves, left, right, forward, front. The water starts filtering out into all of them and starts filling them up, but not filling up the room. Now we're dry. Now the water's in there. And all of them fill up except for one, the one directly in front of us. And then 3 to the left, which was not immediately obvious. Like I might have gone straight ahead when we first walked in. 3 to the left, it's a little confusing, but whatever. And I was like, I don't want to project my own opinion on what's happening here, but I happen to think that is the way that we should go to discover this gem. And since all the other places were filled with water, that was the only choice at that point. So we went down this path, right? And this one, it was for hours, if not days. It was strange how time began to slip and stretch, and you were tired, but then you weren't. You were hungry, but then you were full. You could see, and then it was dark. It was one of the strangest experiences I've ever had. And I'm sorry, Mr. Innkeeper. Do you mind? Do you just one more?
You actually go to pick it up to ask for a refill, and you see that it's already been topped off.
Oh my God, you are really. This is fantastic. Like this is. I'm very impressed by everything that y'all do here. I might stay here for a little while. There might be more stories to come. But regardless, we walk down this pathway. We're following it again for who knows how long. It opens up into another chamber. And here's the thing. I don't know why these evil villain guys always try and like hide in these deep, windy little whatevers, but you tell right away something was wrong. These lines of black slinking along the floor, like the ceiling oppressively low overhead. And we look ahead of us, and there's this bright, glowing gem. Except it's not glowing the way you were used to. It's not glowing the way brilliance was. Right, it was like flickering. It was harsh. It was wrapped in this strange, and that's when I noticed all those black running along the ground. It were wrapping around this gem, and it was trying to pulse the way, the way like a strong candle light, right? Like look at the fire. See how the fire is like there's a glow, like right, but it was like it was like shaking. It was very strange, and Brilliance like gasped. She freaked out, and Fira tried to grab her, and I was like, but she's too quick, and I'm too old. What are you gonna do? And she ran up, and I was like, don't touch it. And she listened, which impressed me, and I was like, oh, thank God. And then she touched it, which she freaking touched it. I was like, oh, okay, all right. What are you gonna? Come on now. And as soon as she touched it, like the whole room flashed, and then got very dark, and then the lights from the gem flickered again. Brilliance, nowhere to be found. Which is concerning. Red flag number 3. When you go in and there's a giant glowing gem and somebody touches it and disappears. I mean, at this point, you're in for a penny in for a pound, so I can't tell you to back out. But if you ever see those
begins scribbling even faster to keep up with you.
Red flag, that was number 3. That was 3 of 3. There might be 4. There are a lot of red flags, actually, on adventures. We'll get to those later, but make sure you jot that one down.
Okay.
And as we run up, I see her face almost in the surface of this gem. These black tendrils of energy kind of flying over it, and it looks like she's screaming. And my heart drops. I mean, this poor little kid trusting me to keep her safe, trusting Fear to keep her safe. And I look at her. I'm like, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna get this kid out? And she holds up her knife like she's gonna bash it. I'm like, that's never the right. You know what? It's never that easy. It's never that easy. And right then we hear this most just disgusting laughter. I mean, like, think of who in town has a really bad laugh? Like, who has a laugh that you a little unsettling? Is it fair to call somebody out?
Everybody starts kind of chuckling a little bit, and then eyes kind of drift over to a little bit behind you, and there's a tiefling man who has kind of come in, and he's just kind of looking around like, what? And everybody's just giving him a look and chuckling to themselves.
And no offense, you know what? There's one in every town. It has to be somebody. But here's the good thing. Your laugh, whatever it is, I don't want to hear it. For God's sake, don't laugh right now. But whatever it is, this was 100 times worse. I can't even describe it. It shook your very bones. Like the way it wormed into your ears. It was like it was piercing into your brain and giving you like the weirdest headache you've ever had. And everything was vibrating and it was resounding in your head in a way words don't do it justice. And we look over, and there is just this desiccated, corpse-like creature walking up to us. And like robes hanging off of it, flesh hanging off its bones, the skin on its head just sloughing off, just like a skull remaining. It was truly terrifying, and I have seen some genuinely terrifying things. And we don't even think. We just spring. We know this is a reason we're here. We dive in. We go after it, and we're just leaping in like knowing this is the only way we can get Brilliance out. And we're fighting this thing. And look, I'm not going to bore you with fighting. Have you seen a fight before? The people hit each other
yes.
until somebody stops moving, like which is what we were up against. And there was magic flying around, and it was crazy and it was intense. And in the middle of that, I go to fire one of these. I do this really cool thing where like light and my hands kind of glow. It's like this, but way more intense and cool. And then it like flies out and hits something. I did that, and this guy knocked it away, and it hit that gem. And what did I tell you? Red flag number 3, gem that sucks people up. You shouldn't break them. It turns out I was wrong. In this case, we should have broken it in the first place. It would have helped because the light hit this gem and it shattered into 1,000 pieces. And I heard multiple shrieks of all these voices. And then suddenly there was Brilliance lying on the ground. And I kid you not, in her hand was a very tiny little knife that seemed like it would be very ineffective for battling like a big bad monster, right? But she was there and she was okay, and she stood up. And as she stood up, all the light from all the pieces of this gem kind of seemed to suck together. They moved towards her quickly to this tiny little knife that suddenly formed into a massive glowing sword in her hand. And I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. We should break more gems. Like that's a lesson I'm going to take away from this, right? We should break more gems. And without missing a beat, she just turns, and her eyes, remember before she was glowing? Now her eyes are the only thing glowing, and they're pulsing along with the light from this sword. And she looks at this creature and she just says, you. And I'm like, whoa, that is a very intense voice. Something must have happened. There's a lot going on. So I just kind of step back. And she just runs forward and she says, the light consumes you. And I was like, this is getting so like I really need her to back down. But you know what? What are you going to do? You got to step out of the way. And she just stabbed the sword right into the middle of this thing. And it shrieks. And as it shrieks, just the way the light from that broken crystal reached to her sword, the darkness all around just sucked into this creature, then into the sword, and then it was gone. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. And then I heard kind of the cries. I told you I heard all these voices, right? When the gem shattered, these screams, and I look around and they're not screams anymore, but all around me are all these women huddling on the ground, holding each other. And look, I don't know what this guy was doing because we didn't really get a chance to talk to him, but somehow I think he was trapping them in this crystal, and who knew what his intent was? But Brilliance, she saved them. You know, it was pretty. I mean, I was there too. I helped. Fira did her fair bit, but we were really more kind of. Hey, you know, there are heroes and there are secondary heroes. We were secondary heroes in this situation. But long story short, we got the women back to their farms. The farms began to prosper and grow. And Brilliance tried to get me to come back to the Temple of Lyra. And I was like, no, that is not happening. But tell her I said hello. And that was that. And last I saw, she was building a beautiful temple where this crumbled, evil, dark cave used to be. And, you know, what can I say? Light doesn't always defeat the dark, but when it does, it's a beautiful thing. And I kind of hold my mug up and, you know, cheers whoever's
everybody
around me.
Everybody raises their glasses. And as you come to the end of your tale, with everybody enraptured, you notice that there's a bit of that hot, cold sensation again, and quickly look over your shoulder and you see that the door is open. Because having quietly filed in and found spots all around the little semicircle around you are several of the children who had been out sledding. And the parents kind of in this moment start to realize as well, and they're like, oh, no, that's not a story for kids. And they're like, you know, putting their hands over their ears and shooing them out. But this one little tiefling boy who's got blue skin, like really dark blue skin and these tiny little nubs of horns, just like looking at you with massive eyes like, that's so cool.
It is so cool. I'm not going to lie. It was very cool. I was there and I still think it's quite cool. You're not wrong.
And he gets kind of pushed out the door as well to go play with all the other kids. But yeah, everybody kind of thanks you for your story and kind of wants to clink glasses with you, and a couple of the younger men and you know older teens who are there want to try to kind of buddy up to you and maybe try to tell a tale of their own, which are nowhere near as impressive. Mostly about a wolf they saw once before it skittered away.
Oh, that's a very scary wolf. I mean, that sounds like the same wolf he saw, but it's a lot bigger when you tell about it. But no, it's not. I mean, wolves, big deal.
They start bickering with each other about telling the same stories. But yeah, after a while, the people kind of naturally disperse back to their spots. And that old tabaxi woman is still kind of sitting next to you, rocking a little bit in her chair. And she's just giving you like this kind of curious look. And she just says, all these gods and places that you're describing, my memory doesn't recognize any of them.
Well, you know, there's more worlds than this one, more realms than yours. I told you I've traveled quite a bit.
And she just gives you a curious look and a little wink,